next is Erica Smith, a partner with BKD, and she will introduce our next speaker. Erica is a member of BKD National Construction and Real Estate Group, and she specializes in tax and building construction services. Please help me give a warm welcome to Erica Smith.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's so great to be here. We've heard so many great stories and so much wisdom in this room today. We're so excited to be here. BKD is so happy to be an initial sponsor. This is our first year sponsoring the event. It's a great event. And I hope that next year, just like we've talked about, that all of this is over and that we'll all be together again, but virtually. Hello to everyone. In your swag bag, I hope that you found your BKD The Future is Inclusive pin. We are really excited at BKD to be starting a new initiative within our SKY initiative. So since 2014, BKD SKY initiative is our goal to emphasize and strengthen diversity that focuses on attracting and retaining and developing leaders at BKD. And through that, our goal is to identify biases, remove cultural barriers that prevent all of us from maximizing our potential. We strive to create an inclusive culture that leverages our differences while creating a level playing field for all of our team. There's no doubt that through greater diversity, varied backgrounds, and unique perspectives, we're better positioned to meet our clients' needs, to serve our communities, and innovate how we do business. As a firm, we have focused on changing behaviors, attitudes, and our culture. We are focused on enhancing an environment of inclusion so that together we can all be better. And that is why today I'm excited to introduce to you Coach Mox. She is a 19-year veteran of Division I women's basketball, including 4 seasons as a player at Hofstra and 4 coaching stops prior to Missouri State University. She became the first female African-American head coach at Missouri State and quickly put together one of the top debut basketball seasons in Division I history. The Lady Bears, as we all know, went 26-4 in the Missouri Valley regular conference season and won the title in 2020. This paved the way for Coach Mox to be named the Spalding Maggie Dixon Rookie Coach of the Year and the MVC Coach of the Year, as voted by the Women's Basketball Coaches Association. Off the court, Coach Mox continues to advocate for her team, running her program Life After Basketball, where she partners with organizations to teach important life skills to young adults. Before she joins us on the stage, please turn your attention to the screen for a short video from the Lady Bears and Coach Mox.
Let's go. It's our time, our house, our state. Together in 3, 1, 2, 3. Together. All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up. And they are just enjoying this moment. How special this moment is. Cause all I do is win, win, win. And if you going in, put your hands in the air, make them say that. This is our house. Like we beat them by 100, we beat them by 100. Okay?
Gotta do something. Here's a 3 ball by Manning. Got it! Oh my God, Manning!
Lobbing low left now to Franklin. Spins in on Nolan. Puts the shot up and in for the win.
The consistency going, the energy, the effort, everything has to stay the same for 40 minutes.
Near side now. Caleb will try her hand at a 3. And it's good for Bryce Caleb. And another block. Here's Ruffridge for 3 more, and it goes. And Willard left wide open. Don't ever leave Alexa Willard wide open.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money.
Caleb, lots of traffic. Cut it. And a Mizzou foul.
Building, everybody hands go up. We gotta punch first, right? And they keep punching. And they stay there. And they say yeah.
Corner 3 for the tie is good. Hip trying to post up on Wolf. There is a career high 15 for Abby Hip.
Big turnaround.
Wow, no call there either way. Count it for Gardner.
Make sure we set the tone from the beginning, right?
Gardner can shoot those from outside, knocks it in.
Ellis bombs away is open.
In for Schultz, off and in.
For the cross, Knapp loads up another three. Wow.
To the corner to Ruffridge. Does she still have it? Yes.
Open three, right side. Wilson hit it, and a foul.
Look at the motor that drives Franklin and is rewarded by Caleb's eyes up in transition. So good.
Missouri State shooting the lights out here at JQH Arena. Mike Maya-Benhar got it started.
Do is win, 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 no matter what.
Thank you. That video kind of gets me hype. I'm ready for the season right now. You know, last year was just an amazing ride. I'm just so excited about this year. But thank you, Biz 417, 417 Magazine, BKD, everybody that's involved with this great event, just for having me be here. I'm super honored and just humbled to be here. So I just want to thank you guys. And thank you for everyone that's here, everyone that's streaming. Wish you guys were here as well, because first of all, the camera adds 10 pounds and I look better in person. But no, seriously, because I'm a people person. I just like to interact and see everybody's face. But I know we have a lot of people streaming, and I just want to say thank you for you guys, your support as well. I also want to talk about real quickly, we have a new staff here. We made some changes this summer, and I'm super excited about this group. You know, 2 of them are here. Actually, 1 is a returner, but we have 2 new people on our coaching staff. So I just want to shout them out real quick. 1, Tori Jankoska, she's over there. She was with us last year, was an integral part of our success. She's played at Michigan State, the all-time leading scorer in the school's history. She was a top 10 WNBA draft pick, so she's a phenomenal player and coach. The other one is one of our newbies, but she's not new to me. Coach Bond, Elisha Bond. She's one of my best friends in the world, really like a sister to me. We worked together at Michigan State. She's also been all over the place, Tennessee, Wisconsin, Arizona, Texas Tech. So she comes with a tremendous experience, but she's just a phenomenal human being and that has a magnetic personality. And then the other one, he's not here because this is geared, you know, towards women, but he's supporting and streaming from home. His name is CJ Jones, and he comes with a wealth of experience as well on the women's side and the men's side, most notably in the NBA. He was a coach or a player development coach in NBA for 5 years. So I'm just very excited about our group, our coaching staff, our synergy, our camaraderie already. We've been working together for a couple of months now. But also just excited about the synergy between our team, our players, and then the connection between our staff and our players. I just think that, you know, I feel tremendously blessed just to be a part of Missouri State and the Lady Bears program, the historical program that it is. And I truly believe that God brought me here. You know, we have a special group and we have a special thing going. I'm just so optimistic for the future, you know. And it's funny, people always ask when they hear you're a coach and things like that, people that are not as familiar with collegiate athletics, you know, they're, okay, you're a coach, well, what else do you do? Like, do you have another job? And I'm like, do you know how much of a full-time job this is? I mean, we work really, really hard, but not only, you know, just my job description. I mean, there's so much that goes into it that people don't understand. There's recruiting, there's scouting, there's equipment, there's scheduling, there's travel. There's so many things that we have to do on a daily basis that just pack our schedule. But, you know, for me, my job is even way more than that. I mean, honestly, I'm a coach, I'm a mentor, I'm a psychologist, you know, I'm all of the above. But what I really take pride in is my job, you know, being the kind of person I am, I guess, in my position. To me, my job is to inspire, you know, to build up, to give confidence, ultimately to empower. And that's what I want to talk about a lot today. Our young people, but also our staff, you know, and anybody that works within our program. So I take that very seriously. I just think that, you know, this generation that's coming up needs to be different. And I think it's my job. I think I'm doing a disservice to them if they just come, you know, to Missouri State and they learn basketball stuff, but they don't learn anything about life or themselves. So my biggest thing is just getting them to believe in themselves, getting them to bet on themselves, you know, because at the end of the day, people aren't going to always bet on you, you know, and I want them to feel that they have, the power to impact change, or the power to, impact their communities, and their voices can be heard no matter what, that they matter. That's super important to me. So, the old school of thought, I guess you could say, with coaches is, at least when I was coming up, we can't give confidence, we can't take confidence away. They either have it or they don't. They need to find it, And I completely disagree with that. I think as a coach, especially a head coach, but any coach, you can take confidence away and you can give confidence. And I choose to, do the latter. I want to give confidence. I want to help mold these ladies that come in, and when they leave, they're women that are ready to take on the world, ready to go after that job, ready to believe in themselves. So I take that role very, very seriously, and I think our players, they understand that, and they buy in because of my philosophy when it comes to people in general. So my philosophy when it comes to our players, but this goes for anybody out there, like, your employees, whoever it is that you're trying to motivate, empower, or anything. Mine is, people always talk about, it's tough love, just work through it, especially in athletics, work through it, get through it, push through whatever it is. But I switch the two, and I always talk about love tough. And to me, I think the love has to come before the toughness. And again, this applies not just to athletics, it applies to everybody. If people understand that you care, they're more likely to follow. So as a leader, I pride myself on having great relationships with my players, my staff, everybody. But it's because of that love tough mentality. So if you set a foundation of love, obviously, but trust, loyalty, respect, being genuine, all of that stuff, a safe place for them to come, no judgment zone, then at the end of the day, people are more likely to follow or be motivated or push themselves out of their comfort zone. So that's how I approach it with our team. And when I got here, we had a lot of broken kids. We did. A lot of kids that didn't believe in themselves, a lot of kids that were, didn't believe that they could get an A in that class, or didn't believe that they could make that shot on the court, didn't believe that they had a place in this society, that, they could voice their own opinion, didn't believe that they mattered, really. I'm not saying all of them, but there was a lot of kids like that. So my first thing when I got this job was to build them up, for them to believe in themselves, for them to gain that confidence back, because I want them to leave here and be ready to attack, the world. And I think if we don't do that, then why are we really in the business of helping young people? So I think this goes hand in hand with admitting that everybody, women especially, has insecurities, self-doubt, self-conscious issues. We all have them. You got that voice in your head that says you're not good enough, or somebody's telling you you're not good enough, maybe to get that job, or maybe to get that position or raise, or whatever it is. We all have it. I mean, even Hillary Clinton, she talked about it in one of her books. Everybody has that, but it's how you respond to that voice in your head, or how you respond to people telling you no. How do you go about pushing through those barriers? And that's what I want to teach our kids, and that's what I have been teaching them, because at the end of the day, you learn from failures. Success happens from failures. Success happens from being denied. Success happens from being told no, things like that. So if they push, or if I push them out of their comfort zone, or they take that step, take a risk to just be better than they could even imagine, or go after something they could never imagine they could do, and they fail, it's okay. It's okay. You learn from that and you come back stronger. So, you can't set limitations on yourself because you have that little voice in your head, or you have somebody telling you no. You have to continue to just bet on yourself. As women, and I know there's some men, including my assistant coach, watching, but it is a male-dominated world, and if you're a woman, you have a strike against you already. And if you're a minority woman, you have 2 strikes against you. So you need to be even more aggressive and even more confident to be seen and heard in a male-dominated world. It's super important. So those are the messages I try to get through to them. And, there's a quick story I want to tell. This actually just happened recently. One of our players, I definitely pride myself on having good relationships with our players and having a pulse on them and understanding, if somebody's up today, they're down today, whatever it is. And one of our players, I had a conversation with her. We had a meeting last week. and she was just having some anxiety. She was stressed out, just really just with the uncertainty of everything that's going on in the world. The pandemic, you know, the social and racial injustices, which I'm going to get to in a little bit. Just everything that's going on in the world, she was really struggling with that. And so I, you know, brought her in, we were talking, you know, I was just trying to give her different coping mechanisms. I was trying to listen. I was trying to offer guidance the best I could. And at the end of the conversation, she was telling me, she said, you know, I actually feel a lot better. I really appreciate that. And I said, okay, you know, that's good. And she said, I always feel better when we talk. And I said, that's awesome. Like, that's why I'm here for you and all that stuff. She said, it's crazy because I always wait till it's like I'm at my wit's end and then I'm like, let me just go talk to Coach Mox, even though we have a lot of conversations. So I'm like, well, when you start getting anxious and stressed out, why don't you just come then rather than, you know, when it's at an all-time high. And she said to me, you know, when I look at you, it's like you're perfect. And I was like, what? And she was just, you know, you're perfect. She said, you're strong, you're independent, you know, you always have the right answers, you know how to make us feel better, she didn't say understand yet, she said you are there for us when we need you and things like that. And she's like, so I'm always thinking like, she won't understand, she won't be able to relate to what I'm going through, she doesn't have those same thoughts, like she's just so confident and, you know, things like that. And I was like, you know, wow. Well, like, I mean, obviously that's a compliment coming from her, but at the same time, you know, my first reaction was what anybody's reaction would be with nobody's perfect. You know, I told her that. I was like, nobody's perfect except for him in my eyes. And, you know, I just told her, I was like, I obviously am older than you, and I have had some trials and tribulations in my life where maybe I've gone through some of the things you've gone through, or maybe I've helped others get through it, or maybe I've seen others get through it, maybe I've talked to people. So I have a way of thinking or forming a solution, or maybe even directing you to the right person that can help you through that because of experiences. And so it's not that I have all the answers. You know, I have a little bit more wisdom than you and a little bit more experience, and that's what I wanted her to understand. And she got that, but at the same time, she still has this vision of me. And I went on to tell her about, you know, 12 years ago when I lost the person in this world that knew me before I even came in this world, which was my mother. You know, and that was the worst time of my life, still is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. And to me, in my eyes, my mother was the closest thing to perfect. And I'm sure she had all the, you know, insecurities and all the doubt in her head and all that stuff, but to me, she was such a powerful woman that I just wanted to emulate everything that she did. And I feel blessed to have had her for as long as I did, but at the same time, I know that there was times where she had self-doubt and she had to turn to people, and there was times where she had to work through stuff. But, you know, to me, she was, you know, she saved lives as her profession because she was a surgeon, but then she also saved lives just by doing God's work, just by being a genuine, honest, loving person. So when she was taken from this earth and out of my life, of course, I was down and out, you know, you could even say depressed. I went through hard times. I just, you know, it wasn't a good place in my life. And so I was sharing this with my player, and I was just like, but, you know, at the same time, you know, one thing my mother always taught me is like, you can choose to listen to those voices that are telling you you're sad or your woe is me, or, you know, or you can just be blessed you know, or, I mean, you could just feel blessed for everything you have and not take things for granted and just keep moving, keep going forward, and just keep trying to impact lives. So that helped me get through that dark time, but it's still something that I deal with every night. You know, I mean, sometimes I'll wake up crying just because I miss my mother, especially when I had my son. And, you know, when I got married, all the things that we talked about growing up. But, you know, we all go through those times, and I think that sometimes young people, they look at us, especially those in positions of authority, and they put us on this pedestal and don't think that we understand what they're going through. And the thing with young people today, their worth is wrapped up in whatever they're doing. So if they're playing basketball, they have a bad game, life is over, you know? They can't move on from that. Or if they put up a post on social media and they get 10 likes and then life is over, you know? So whatever it is they're doing, that is what their worth is wrapped up in. So my message when I talk to them, you know, it's not about what everybody thinks about you. It's about you believing in yourself, you know? And my job is to help them continue to believe in themselves and continue to be prepared for life. Because once they get out of this little bubble of college athletics where we tell them, what we're eating today, this is your food, when the bus is leaving, when the plane is leaving, when we play games, when you have your class schedule, when practice is, all that stuff, you know, when they get out of that, we don't want them to have a culture shock. So, you know, that kind of goes hand in hand with our life skills program that we do, which is called LAB, Life After Ball. And this is really important to me, and it's really important to our players. You know, they're so appreciative of this program, and you know, we've had mental health training, and obviously I have partnered with people to come in and talk about this stuff. We've had mental health training, we've had sleep training, we've had cooking classes that have turned into, that was a sleep training. We've had cooking classes that turned in kind of to like that show Chopped competition, because you know, at the end of the day, we're athletes, we're competitive. But we've had all kinds of things. Clinique came in and talked about skincare. We've had self-defense lined up. We've had financial ones, like, because kids don't even think about budgeting, investing, savings, things like that. All kinds of stuff, proper ways to clean. So, you know, whatever we feel like whatever skills we feel like they need just to be able to be independent and succeed in society on their own, we want to expose them to it while they're in college, where we can help mold them and prepare them for the future. So that is something that I actually want to challenge everybody that's listening, people that are here listening. It's a really important program, and I just want people to continue to reach out and help grow our young people. We have to be able to change this generation coming up. So if anybody, whatever your skill set may be, I know we have a lot of successful people in the room and listening. If anybody wants to be a part of that and you think that you can offer something to our student athletes, we definitely welcome that. And I will say real quick, if you do, please email our Director of Operations. Her name is Michaela Krall, and I'll be able to put this on the website, I guess, but mcrall@missourystate.edu, and she'll be able to connect you guys with that. But we do a lot just to make sure that we are continuing to set them up for success. So my biggest thing is, you know, it's when it comes to empowerment, you have to bet on yourself. You have to establish a foundation of respect, love, loyalty, a genuine relationship before you can lead anybody. You know, no one's going to follow you if they don't believe in you. Or don't believe that you care about them, or even believe in you. So, you know, with our players, that's kind of the way that I approach them. Now, as I challenge you guys to do more, some do a lot, some do a little, in our community and with our young people, that kind of moves us into another subject, which is racial injustices, and just the climate of what our country is in right now. And you know, this subject, it requires a lot of empathy, it requires compassion, and it requires sensitivity. And that's so important, because you have to, everybody needs to be educated. Some are more educated than others, but you have to be able to understand the pain that the African American community has been enduring, the oppression that Black people have endured, you know, the systemic racism that Black people have endured. All these, there's facts, you know, these are facts. And you have to approach this with a level of sensitivity, because right now, you know, sensitivity is at its all-time high. Obviously, with the recent, you know, events, I mean, this is stuff that's been going on before there was cameras, you know, and then even when there were cameras. So with the recent events of, you know, obviously George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, the list goes on, the sensitivity is at an all-time high. And so, you know, the saying that we've heard a lot lately with, you know, the unaffected have to be as outraged as the affected for there to be some kind of implementation of change. And I think, you know, that's what we're seeing now. That's really what we're seeing now, and that's why I'm very optimistic about the direction we're going and the change that's happening in our country right now. But pertaining to our program, when all of that stuff started going on, there's protests, you know, there's uncertainty along with the pandemic. It was a lot, especially it's a lot for everybody, you, me, adults, everyone. But young people, it's a lot for them to handle. Some understand, some don't understand, some can relate, some can't, some have experienced, some haven't. So it was important to me to bring our team together. And this was actually via Zoom because of the pandemic. I wish it was in person. But to bring them together and offer them, you know, a continued safe place where there was a no judgment zone. People felt like they mattered. People felt like, you know, they had a voice, they could voice their opinion. And that's what happened. And it was a very powerful thing because our African American students, they expressed some of their experiences. They expressed their frustration. I expressed some of my experiences and my frustration. And you know, our white student athletes or other races, now they had seen a lot of this stuff on TV, had been some confused by it, some upset by it, you know, bothered, but at the same time, it was kind of further away from them because they're watching it on TV. It didn't affect anyone in their direct circle. So when they were listening to some of this stuff, there were some tears, but there was also some people becoming outraged because now this is happening to their sister, somebody they can consider a sister. So it was actually very powerful, and that's why I want to just continue with the education on that, because some just don't know, you know, or some don't know what it's like. Maybe they know, they don't understand. So it's important to change the next generation and to empower people to speak up, use their voice. You matter, no matter whatever your race or ethnicity or whatever is. And this movement, when you talk about Black Lives Matter, you know, some people are offended by that, and everybody, you know, is entitled to their own opinion for sure. But let me just try and explain, because the goal is to educate. So I can easily say white lives matter, equality, all lives matter, Hispanic lives matter, Asian lives matter, because I genuinely believe that. I genuinely believe that. I was blessed to have parents that raised me without having a prejudiced heart, no judgment in my heart. You know, you don't judge people on how they look. You know, it's about the person's soul, their character, you know, how they carry themselves, whatever it is. So not everybody's blessed to be raised that way, so I understand that. But Black lives are the ones that are in danger right now. Black lives are the ones that are being subjected to police brutality or people using their authority the wrong way, and that's targeted towards Black people. When it's a Black life, it's more of a shoot to kill mentality. Apprehend is kind of like, okay. When it's a white life, it's more of a apprehend first, shoot to kill is the last resort. And we just need to change that whole mentality, because there's people that are being killed that have families. You know, I have a family, I have a son, I have a husband, I have a brother, I have a father, I have cousins. I also have Black females in my family. Obviously, I am a Black female. So it's a very disheartening thing to live in fear, you know, especially with the current climate now. My husband goes out, who's to say he's gonna come back? And I know I'm not saying there's other things that can be fatal. Right now, COVID's fatal. A car accident can be fatal. There's so many things, but the social part of this and the systemic part of this, we need to fix. And so, you know, it's disheartening because, you know, people in my family or just Black people, you know, you're one encounter away with the wrong person of authority that may racially profile you to just being killed. You know, and it's because of the color of your skin. So that's why it's Black Lives Matter. Doesn't mean that other lives don't matter, because they do, but other lives are not being targeted right now. So if we are we have a breast cancer awareness game that we do every year in support of breast cancer, which is really important to me. My mother passed away from that. But when you're doing breast cancer, you're at an event where you're supporting breast cancer, you're not really talking about brain cancer or liver cancer or bone marrow cancer. When you go to those events, you're not talking about breast cancer or whatever it is. I mean, you're focusing on the issue at hand, right? So when you're talking about Black Lives Matter and trying to get equality, you're not talking about everyone, because not everybody is affected in that way. And so that's why the unaffected have to be as outraged as the affected in order to see change. So that is why it's important to say Black Lives Matter. We do, again, at least me, I'm speaking for myself, I agree that all lives matter. I'm just going to continue to reiterate that. But we need Black lives to matter. That's super important. I mean, when you think about this, I mean, just 56 years ago, Civil Rights Act, was put in place. So just 56 years ago, which is not, I mean, there might be there's people in here that are 56 years old, people listening, there's people older than that. My parents were in their late teens at that time. Just 56 years ago, I wouldn't be able to go to the same school as my assistant coach, Tori Jane Costa. I wouldn't be able to eat in the same restaurants because of the color of my skin, and that's not a long time. Now, we've come a long way. Now, I'm the first African-American female coach of any sport at Missouri State, and that is a blessing. That's why I think God brought me here. I think I have to continue to use that platform, and I will. We're going to do a lot of things in the community. We're working on something right now that's going to be pretty big. It'll be advertised soon. So I'm going to continue to do my part. But I'm the affected. The unaffected has to step up what they're doing, and that's what we're seeing now. And that's why we're seeing changes. We're seeing laws and things like that. But 56 years ago is not a long time. It really isn't. And you think about in 1965 when Juneteenth came around, June 19th, before this year, a lot of people didn't even know what June 19th meant, Freedom Day. They didn't know what that meant, because it's not being taught in schools. It's a big part of our history, So I just think that, one, I'm a very proud African-American woman. I love my heritage. I love where I'm from. I would not change it for the world. But when I was born, I wasn't in a test tube and they said, swim left if you want to be black and swim right if you want to be white. It wasn't like that. I was born into this world the same way as you, same way as you, same way as people listening. We all came in the same way. It wasn't a choice we made. So why do I get judged on the color of my skin? And why do I have less opportunities because of the color of my skin? Why was I not allowed to vote? Because you guys imagine living in a country, but you don't have a say on who your leadership is going to be. You're not allowed to vote. You're not allowed to eat in this restaurant. You're not allowed to go to school. Why? We were all born the same way. And if you're a Christian, I'm not saying you have to be, but I'm a Christian. I have a strong foundation in faith in Lord, God-fearing woman, and I think that's why I'm able to impact lives, because God put me here to do that. I believe He put my mother here to do that, and I take a lot of pride in that. But it says, love thy neighbor. It doesn't say love your white neighbor or love your black neighbor. It says love thy neighbor. We're all one under God. So it's important that those aren't just words that we say. It's important that those become actions. And so that's why I challenge people to do more. And some are doing a lot. Some are not doing a little bit. And, there's people out there that have good hearts, don't have any prejudice in their heart at all, But when they watch some of this stuff, they feel like, yeah, that's terrible that's happening. But I know I'm not racist, or I know I don't judge people, so it has nothing to do with me. And that's where they stand. Well, the unaffected have to be as outraged as the affected. So it doesn't mean everybody needs to go protest. Doesn't mean you need to be speaking out about it. But support change in this country for the next for our generation and the next generation. So whether it's donating to causes, talking to young people, coming and helping me and talking to my young people, our team, helping in your community, voting. That should have been the first thing I said. whatever it is, even just supporting friends and families behind the scenes and letting them know that you love them, you're there for them. There's so many ways that you can support if you truly believe that equality matters. I just think that this is again, it's a sensitive subject, but it's a subject that needs to be talked about. And I believe that, now coming after a year of being here, I believe that that's one of the reasons why I was brought here. And I know I'm going to continue to do my part in the community. I know I'm going to continue to do my part with our community and our Lady Bears family because it's important. Our program, I'm so blessed that we have a safe place. We don't have any of that. We have people from all walks of life in our program, on our staff, our players. But, they look at the leader of the program and how does she feel or what is she doing about this? And again, I'm going to continue to do my part. But I think it's, being silent. And I will be honest with you, when all this started happening, and the protests started happening and people putting statements out on social media, I'll be 100% transparent. It took me about a week before I put a statement out on social media because I was nervous. I was nervous. I have a son, I have a husband. I'm in a predominantly white community, which is not a problem to me, but you don't know where people's hearts lie. So if I start speaking out, maybe I'll be okay because I'm the coach, but what's going to happen to my son and my husband? So we did a lot of praying about it, but I think, again, that's why I was brought here, and I feel like, it's something that I'm going to take a lot of pride in, and there's something that I'm going to continue to do, because I just think that it's a subject that people don't like to really talk about. People feel uncomfortable, and so we got to be comfortable. We got to be comfortable talking about it. My husband's always fully in support, and he's always pushing me to use my voice and to continue to help the community. So that's what I plan to do. So again, I'm looking at the time. I actually had a few other things I want to say, but I know we got to kind of stay on track. But empowering young women is a passion of mine. I coach, I'm super competitive, I want to win, but the fundamental reason why I coach is a mentorship piece and the relationship piece, and that's what fills me up. So empowering young women, that's a huge thing, a huge goal and a huge part of my job. Inspiring, giving confidence, building them up, getting them to bet on themselves, even when other people don't, getting them to bounce back when they hit adversity or failures and things like that. It's super important to me. And then also, now, especially in this climate, just empowering everyone to step out of their comfort zone a little bit. That's when change happens. That's when success happens. Step out of your comfort zone a little bit and be a part, impact change in our community. And then that'll just trickle on to the next community, the next community, the next community, the country, the state, the world, whatever. But we have to all continue to do our part, and we have to be educated and understand what the fight is right now. Understand what the message is right now and be a part of change. So that's what I want to leave you with. I really do appreciate everyone's time. Please continue to support our program. We're doing great things. We have a great group of kids. A lot of you guys have met some of them, and they're phenomenal people, and they're going to be future leaders in our world. So I thank you guys a lot, and everybody remain blessed.